In this video, I'm going to show you how to take the text file that you just generated from your QuickBooks report and import it into the LabelMaker app, parse the information, and produce a text file that you can print labels from. But first, really quickly, let me show you something on the Upstream website. We're on the projects page here, and if you come down and click on LabelMaker, you're going to see this button here for additional resources, and this will have a link to a Google Docs page where I have some templates, some test files, and the README file. So if you click on that button, it will take you here to this zip file. If we open that folder up, we're going to see that I have a template for the labels that I like to print from, and this will work with Dymo label printers. Here's an Excel file with the ordering template, and there's some sample orders here that you can play around with. Also, this one has a couple of bad lines which the LabelMaker app will recognize, so you can see what happens if you have bad information going in. And this out file, that's just the file we'll export to, and we will be able to read that file with the label printing software. Okay, so what I'm going to use though is this, for this example, is this January 2nd.txt order, and you'll see that there's a little bit of extra information here. The QuickBooks report exports with this header. That was the header of all the columns. And then you'll see the date here and again here. And the reason that you'll see those date lines is because we're printing a report between the ranges of January 2nd to January 2nd. So it just adds those lines to encapsulate these orders, showing you that that's the range. Meanwhile, this is really the only information that we'll need to print labels from. So in this text file, you could delete these lines and save the changes, but we're going to leave them alone for now and show you how the app deals with them. I also want to point out that this line here for broccoli, customer 1 has ordered 20 broccoli. There's no units associated or max units associated, so we'll see what happens when the LabelMaker app catches that line and how we deal with it. Okay, so the next step is to just open up the app, which I have here on my desktop, and you'll get a window that looks like this. And from here, once you have your text file exported from QuickBooks or Excel, it's really very fast. I'm just kind of going to go through a couple of the details, but if you have things set up the way you like it, you basically would have your text file, you just boom, import it, select an output file, add the date, run it, and you're done. First step though is to select our input file, and we're going to go to the desktop and we're going to choose that January 2nd.txt. And then all of the text in that file will come into this window. So here's another opportunity to catch that, there's some junk lines here that we don't need. We could delete those and save the changes, but we're going to leave those in here again for now. We'll select an output file, and I have this set up so that it's filtering and it will only allow you to choose a text file. So typically people don't store a lot of important information in text files, and if you choose this out file, what you have to be careful about is that when we click run, this file is going to be overwritten. So any information in that out file you're going to lose. It will all be overwritten, and there's no way to undo that. So just kind of be careful that you choose your out file or where you want to print out to when you select your output file, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. Again, there's not a lot of important information usually in a text file. So it'll show you the file path there for our output file. We have a field here for the date, and we could have used the formatted date from QuickBooks, but it would have looked something like this. And I think that having the year dangling on the end there is just a little too much information, especially when you're in a dark walk-in cooler, for instance, or in the delivery truck. Just a quick glance at the date is really all you need. And furthermore, the day you take the orders may not be your delivery date, so this gives you the opportunity to add whichever date you're going to actually be delivering. Okay, it's that easy from there. We just run the app. And you can see right away that it caught this line here, which it doesn't recognize as an order. And it's asking us if we'd like to keep the line or if we want to get rid of it. So we'll say no, let's get rid of it. And then there's that line there, so let's get rid of that one. Okay, so it caught the missing unit type for the broccoli. We're going to give that a unit type of pounds. Okay. And it also caught that missing max units per carton for the broccoli. So we're going to say that we pack our broccoli into 25-pound cartons. And there was that line at the very end, the second date line. So we don't need that either. Okay, great. The labels are ready to print. And if we open up our out file where we had our text, you can see that it's been parsed and also added our lot tracking. 1 of 2, 2 of 2, then 1 of 6, 1 through 6. And look at all those labels we just generated from that one small order sheet. I guess if I could show you one more thing, it would be this. Let's run this again and we'll see what happens with that broccoli line if we try something different. So, what will be a good example of that? Sometimes you'll have some extra information on a line where, let's say for instance, there were some extra tabs from extra columns on the end or something that you may not even notice. Let me show you really quickly what happens here. So we'll save that. We'll just close this file. And we already have both of our file paths still in here, so we'll run that. And it's seeing that line we want to get rid of there. We don't need that line. Missing the unit type for broccoli. We're missing the max per carton, so we'll call that 25. And then it found this line here. Customer 3 ordered 48 count French radish, and the max units per carton is 24. And it's finding that line because there were some, extra tabs or something, a return key that someone hit at the end of the line, and it just caught that for that reason. But we see this line and we say to ourselves, no, we want to keep that line, that's important. So we'll say, yes, we want to keep that, and it'll open this window. And it's asking us if this information looks correct for the customer name, item name, memo, quantity, units, and max units per carton. So we'll say, actually, yeah, that did look right. And then it finds that line down there at the end for the date, which we don't need. Okay, great. So now our labels are ready to print. And if we open the out file, I can't remember what we were looking at, French radish maybe. So yeah, that was there, and it did manage to keep those two lines and add them to our print file. So there's our output file, and from here we're done, and we can input this information to our label printer and just print the labels right out.